We are live, Halloween edition Super Terb podcast. We're going to be starting here in a second. I got Jordan Hatch with me, and we're going to be talking a little fourth quarter edition Super Terb podcast. Uh-oh. Wait, I got something talking to me. That's the problem. We got to share this. And what's going on there? And we're going to share this to our personal page and get started. Hold on one second. You tell I'm in full Super Terb cape and everything for the Halloween this weekend. And we're going to get started posting that. And make sure I tag the right people. Just going down the line. Okay. We're good. Yeah, we're tagging everybody. All right, let's go. Posting that. That's awesome. Make sure I hit record here. And welcome to the Super Terb podcast. I'm your host, Michael Turbert, a.k.a. Super Terb, your local real estate expert with the Ida Turber Group, Coldwell Banker HBW here in Raleigh, North Carolina, or what I like to call the Triangle, a.k.a. Coach Terb as well. And I have Jordan Hatch, fellow assistant / agent, does everything for me here. And we wanted to talk a little real estate market update, Halloween edition. As you know, I cannot believe it's Halloween this Sunday. Our second annual Super Terb Appreciation Event is this Saturday. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to believe we're in the fourth quarter. Like I was even talking, Jordan, I was like, we got to have a fourth quarter preview. And I'm like, well, heck, we're in the fourth quarter right now. So I was like, what no better time to do? We haven't had a podcast a couple of weeks. We've been extremely busy with all of the great referrals we're receiving. We're helping people accomplish their real estate goals. I was like, we need to have a little update of what we've seen this year, what we're expecting maybe towards the end of this year, and what we're seeing next year. So again, Jordan Hatch, you have anything to say? Just say hello, and we'll get started. I'm going to get on in the other end because, we got to have the podcast right for George here to make sure we have our commercial through our sponsors, on the other side here for the Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. If you guys are on, if we're on here, I got already Dad commenting. If you guys have any real estate questions, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Super Terb podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michael Turbot, a.k.a. Super Terb, a.k.a. Coach Terb, your local real estate expert. We're actually on podcast episode 36. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary. It's hard to believe. It's already been a year, and we have done 36 podcasts as of today. Jordan Hatch, again, my assistant / agent / everything for us, makes everything happen for our clients, is with me, and we're going to do a little Q&A and just talk about the market. So go ahead, Jordan, just say hello. First of all, tell everybody your name, and of course, she's got her mask on for the Halloween edition here of the podcast, and just tell everybody what's your name.
Yeah, I'm trying to fit in with the crazy here.
Yeah, it's always fun here as we're rocking the Super Terb koozies. Yeah. I don't have much to say about my Panthers. That's a whole nother conversation. So go ahead.
We don't talk about that. You get a little emotional when we talk Panthers.
It's been bad the last 4 weeks or so.
I've been scared to come in on Mondays.
Yeah, it hasn't been pretty.
Yeah, like you said, I wear many a hat, and it is weird that it's the fourth quarter. I joined in the first quarter. And so hearing that, it's crazy how time flies. I don't know what happened to 2 and 3. It was a whirlwind.
It has. It really has. I mean, it's you blink. But in this business, when you work 30 days basically at a time, you blink and it's here. Before you know, it's Thanksgiving's here, and we're already recharging for the new year. And we've seen a lot of activity in the market, a lot of changes. Really, every podcast, we always have the real estate update, and it's pretty much been the same. Every podcast, listen, inventory is still low, guys. Supply is still very low. Demand is very high. I know when you're looking at the market as a macro, when you're looking nationally, there's different areas that may have seen their market starting to soften, but not here in the Triangle. It's still very, you have over 70 people still moving here a day, and they need inventory. And, the key is pricing homes correctly, getting them show ready. And, there's no better time to sell your home right now.
Mm-hmm. I was about to lead with my first question. We're back to a balanced market, right?
She tried to get that one by me, and I was laughing. I'm like, balanced market? No, we're far from there. We're far from there. I think with 2022, I think we're going to see a lot of the same of 2021. Mm-hmm. So I don't see much changes in the Triangle here.
Yeah, well, That actually leads me to my next question, because I know that most of the time, most normal years, fall is there's kind of a lull in people buying homes, and I was wondering if that was something that we've seen so far in the market, or if that's something you're expecting.
No, I mean, you're exactly right. Yeah, normally in a normal market, and I say normal, I don't know the last time we've had normal, but you typically see different cycles in a market, ebbs and flows. And Dad's talking junk about fantasy football already. I see you, Dad. I'll bring him up here on the screen just so he can see his thing here. There's Dad. All right, I got you. We're playing each other. He's actually doing much better than me this year. Yeah, in a normal market, you have, I'd say, 3 or 4 different cycles. Going back to the beginning of the year, February, I always tell our clients, kicks off our spring market. January, everybody's kind of coming out of the holidays, kind of dusting themselves off. And then February, that starts churning. Like, we want to get our home on the market in the spring. Same thing with buyers, because leases are expiring, usually spring, early summer. So they're hitting the market. So February to June is really our peak time in a normal market. Let me preface that.
Mm-hmm.
July normally is slow. Usually you say, if you think about it, prior to COVID, and 2020 was obviously very different from 2021, because we had a lot more people traveling this summer versus last summer. But normally in July, you have people that it's hot. You have traditional schools out for vacation, year-round schools going back to school. So a lot of times people put things on the back burner as far as their sales.
Right.
We saw probably about a 2-week lull, in my opinion, and from what at least we've been experiencing, where people maybe just took a little bit of a back seat, but the market continued to go. I mean, we sold one home with 22 offers for $80,000 over asking, for example, second week of July. Then August, traditional schools go back. Your people are getting kind of anchored for the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see one more little blip from September to November to Turkey Day, as I like to call it, because people want to be in their homes by the holidays.
It's true.
Yeah.
I have seen that.
And so then after the holidays, honestly, if people are moving in December, it's because they have to move.
Mm-hmm.
However, because we're still under a 1-month inventory in the Triangle, as of last couple weeks ago when we got our last stats from Triangle MLS, we're actually sitting at 0.7 months inventory. We're still down about 56% from a year ago at this time with inventory. So in saying that, in a normal market, you want around 5 to 6 months of inventory. We haven't had that close to really since 2015. So, 2016 is when we came out of the financial crisis. Rates got to 4%, and we started seeing things where the demand was high. People were confident in buying again, but because of the years leading up to that and the lack of building, the supply is going down, and then it's just only increased since then. So going into the fall, like, for example, we just had 2 homes go live today. One home already has double-digit showings. The other already has multiple showings. One, for example, already had multiple offers sight unseen. So I don't foresee it again slowing down. It's also price point dependent, but it's full go right now.
It is. About a week ago, you and I had 3 buyers go under contract in just one weekend.
Right, 3 weekend and 2 listings, and
it was
and they were all multiple offers.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that being said, like you said, there's going to be a blip before the holidays. So do you suspect the holidays to be really slow? Thanksgiving and Christmas, obviously, because people are wanting to hunker down. When do you think people are going to kind of go back into the market? What do you think the competition?
I think things are going to naturally slow down to a certain degree, because, again, if you're thinking about selling, you've pretty much established. Like, I just talked to a past client today. They've already let me know, hey, Terb, we're going to have our market. I mean, we're going to have a home on the market in March.
Mm-hmm.
They've already decided, hey, we're wanting to get through the holidays. We want to decorate our home. I want to not have they're just ready to mentally prepare for that time. As I mentioned, if someone's going to sell in the next couple of months, it's for a circumstance. For example, we have people wanting to move closer to home, or personal situations. But naturally, you'll start seeing the market as far as inventories going down. So that's where, honestly, where we pick up our work. Being in our industry of we're having appreciation events. We're wanting to say thank you to all of our friends and our clients. Excuse me, I'm at my energy drink here. And ramping up for the new year, because it's going to be pedal to the metal.
It is.
It's already pedal to the metal, but that's usually
So with such a crazy market, I know sometimes we kind of keep our heads down, we're in the Raleigh bubble, but is what we're seeing in Raleigh something that represents the nation, or how is Raleigh different than other places?
No, it's a great question. And with COVID, no one obviously saw that coming.
Mm-hmm.
And how Raleigh or the Triangle has really been affected is that a lot of people want to live here. And that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
People have found out that they can work remotely. They can live here, work in other states. The reasons why Raleigh is the best is, taxes are low, great universities, great healthcare, medical facilities. If you want to be at the beach, you're 2.5 hours from the beach. You want to be at the mountains, you're a few hours from the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great central hub, and price points for the most part are very low when considering the other parts of the country. In saying that, what we're seeing is an influx of out-of-state buyers with a lot of liquid, because where they're selling from, they have, for example, I did a fun video with Jacob around 4th of July, after 4th of July weekend, matter of fact, and we didn't name that sales price, where I took a home that just sold in San Jose, Silicon Valley, 1,600 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 0.14 acres, was listed for $1,095,000, sold for $1.35 million. And then I showed another listing that we sold here in Wake Forest, just north of Raleigh, listed for $599,900, sold for $701,000, but it was 4,100 square feet, 2/3 of an acre, 5 bedrooms. And that couple actually moved from Michigan. It was a listing we had. But what I'm getting at is those people are using the equity gain from the sale and coming here and just not laughing, but like, wow, we can get that for this. Right. And that's what we're seeing a lot of the buyers coming in from. And, in turn, you may have an area of the country where maybe more people are moving out of, but it's not affecting here. I mean, we've been ranked now in numerous places where we've been ranked top place to live, best businesses, best small businesses. So we actually have Mom here. She's at home, and she's, of course, wishes she could be here. Mom had knee surgery, but she's recovering, already going to be on listings, I think, tomorrow. She's not human. She's my hero, my idol. And of course, she's saying we live in the best area. So when you're back, Mom, we'll have you on the Super Terb podcast again to give obviously your insight. But yeah, that's where we're seeing where other parts of the country may be softening a bit. I had a group coaching call yesterday, and I have a great group of fellow agents in my group that their experience maybe some softening or price reductions. And we've seen that a little bit, but for the most part, again, that's why who you work with matters, and pricing your home correctly, you're going to accomplish your goals.
It's true. And Ida, we miss you a lot, although you didn't give us very much time to miss you. You just bounced back so quickly.
She's already back, yeah. So,
I'm not sure she was gone.
And then just let me briefly talk about the buying side. I know you may have another question for me there, but the reason why we've had this pent-up demand is the rates have stayed, if not gone down lower. We've had some ebb and flows. For the most part, I've seen over this 2021 timeframe, rates being in the low 3s, but we've had them as low as in the high 2s. 15-year fix is even under 2.5. So rates, and it's almost like having free money. And for the buyers that are out there to say, well, I want to wait, to not get in this crazy market. I think sometimes people, when people say, I don't want to buy high, well, it's all relative how you look at that. The difference, though, of let's say you wait now and you get something at a 3.25 interest rate, and let's say even if you bought that same home for $25,000 less a year from now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, it's not going to happen, but now your rate's at 4%, you're actually going to be paying more for that house on a monthly payment because your rates are higher.
It's true. You were telling me that when you moved, you got a lot more house, when you moved, and your mortgage didn't even change that much.
So exactly. I went from paying, we moved a year ago, August, and our rate, we have a 2.875 interest rate, down from 4.35, increased our purchase price pretty well. And my mortgage went up $500.
Yeah.
And so obviously we use the equity from our home into our new home, but that's where we've seen the biggest difference. So the buyers know how good a great opportunity, because also due to supply and demand, rentals are hard to find,
Mhm.
and the rental prices have gone up.
They really
So if you're
have.
able to get into
Yeah.
the housing market and be able to get in on your home and start building equity, then that's a much better route to take
Mhm.
than a rental situation.
Yeah. And you're right. You really, when you're navigating this market, you got to know where you're winning, because every buyer or seller, you're winning in some way. You
Mhm.
can't have it all, but it's not bad to be a buyer right now. I think some people say, oh, I'm gonna wait until things settle down before I buy, but like you said, with interest rates, you're winning there quite a bit.
That and if you're not ready to get in a competitive situation, then you
That
really
is
just don't need to
different.
get into the market.
And
I mean,
especially with due diligence now, it does cost a lot more out of pocket to get into a house most of the time.
mhm. Well, and just to remind everyone that's listening on the Apple Podcasts or Spotify, Super Terb, make sure you subscribe. That live in other parts of the country outside of North Carolina that don't know what we're saying when due diligence,
Right.
because we get a lot of people from out of state. Thank you again for your referrals. And they don't deal with due diligence money. What that means is that's the money you put up when you go under contract,
Mhm.
which is non-refundable if you do not purchase the house. It goes directly to the seller, but when you close, it's credited back to you. So in a way, you're putting your down payment up at the time of contract.
Yeah.
Where other parts of the country, they still just deal with earnest money, which we still have, but we don't utilize as much. And then they have a due diligence window, which you could
Mhm.
terminate during that window and get your earnest money back. So that's definitely a conversation we have to have up front with all the people that are coming to buy and be prepared for.
Yeah, they'll come here, they laugh at the prices, they get very excited, and it's still very exciting to move here and get a lot more house for your money. But usually the due diligence talk is a little bit of a speed bump moving forward. I like to compare it to an engagement ring, that due diligence fee, where you give them this engagement ring,
I like that.
If you marry them, it's kind of credited back to you because
just
you're
makes.
living together.
I like that actually. That's a great analogy. You just got to make sure you
Yeah.
play your cards right during the engagement period.
Right, and
No.
if you walk away, they kind of walk away with that engagement ring.
Yeah, just make sure you agree to everything and that you agree that you're gonna what tux you're gonna wear. I remember when I got married, I didn't even figure out what I was gonna wear. I just was told what time to show up. I was planning on wearing some different tuxes. I said, no, you're not wearing that.
No.
So I just was told when to show up, and I was married.
Yep, that's
a great
generally
analogy.
how it goes.
It's a great analogy.
So I think we touched on it just a little bit, but people are saying that they don't want to get into these bids. They want to wait until the market kind of balances out. So when you do hear that from people, how do you respond to that? What are your thoughts?
I just let them know then you're going to be waiting a while, and I'm just completely honest with those consumers, with buyers, because I really feel like if you're not completely honest with your clients and have them and create the right expectations, then you're not going to win. And excuse me, carbonation. But you have a lot of agents in this business now that haven't been doing this very long, and that's no fault of their own. And if you're strictly a buyer's agent and you don't have the right expectations set for your clients, it's going to be a very daunting task to win anything. Because and we've had the tough conversations too for buyers that just can't compete right now. And I think that's where the hardest part. And I think when people say, what's the biggest concern with this market? I feel like we're going to have a mirroring 2022 like 2021. They're telling us rates should go up by the end of next year. I've been hearing rates could be at 4 by the next year, but I've also been told they're not. I've been told for the last 6 years rates are going up. I don't see the Feds doing anything to the rates because they know how vital it is to continue the economy with the housing market. I think prices will continue to go up, and that's one of the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is just housing affordability. And where first-time buyers don't really have a good opportunity to get in this market. Used to be before COVID, really not necessarily before COVID, but before 2021. Because I remember January was the last pre-sale I did where a client actually just put a deposit down and for as little as $2,500 and could build a house.
Wow.
But that was usually the route we took, first-time buyers or buyers with little liquid, which is fine. You're not supposed to have money coming out to buy your first home. It's just not supposed to be like that. And they have great loan programs for clients like 100% financing, 3% down, FHA loans,
Right.
VA loans, USDA loans. But they have a hard time competing with people that have liquid and multiple offers. So it used to be we'd go to those resale situations and secure a home and be able to pick out what they want and be able to build. And right now it's far and few between in that situation. And what we've seen since this year, I think the biggest another big change is how new construction, the builders are doing the best they can, but because of lack of inventory, lack of supply, costs going up. What they're doing is securing lots, but they're not releasing the homes until they're ready to start building. And at that point, they're releasing them as spec homes, and the buyer just is accepting them how they're going to be built. And even then, we've seen multiple offer situations with new construction.
Yeah.
So in turn, you've seen resale and new construction almost level out. I'm going to see if I can do this where it's on the screen. Because it used to be like if I went into someone's neighborhood that was in phase 1 and they were still building phase 3, the neighborhood hadn't been built out yet, and we go in to list your home, pretty much right off the bat, you have a 10% hit on your list price because you can't compete with new construction in your own community because someone will just pay what it costs to pay new, pay a little bit more, but have their own new house.
Right.
So you have to show the seller, you have to give the buyer incentive to buy that home at a reduced rate. But because new construction is slowed down, resale's caught up, and the demand for being in homes is such as where really there's not much separation between new construction and resale.
That makes a lot of sense. Well,
let me flip it on you a little bit. You've obviously been working with more buyers. What do you say? What do you think is the most important thing when putting an offer together for that buyer? You know, when you're ready to go out and you see the home you love, what do you do to help quarterback and coach them through on winning that offer?
So I have learned a new phrase that's been very helpful lately because it's very daunting when you're in a multiple bid situation and you think, yes, I really like this house. Usually at that point, we've already had the education talk where we've talked about due diligence and what kind of due diligence we're seeing, just so they know what to expect when putting together that offer. So usually it's not so much due diligence or, agreeing to no repairs in such a competitive market. Those things we've already covered, and that's not so much what we talk about when we're ready to write one. But we talk about at what price are you going to be happy purchasing it at, and at what price are you going to be happy walking away from it?
Right.
Because we have this joke, in the office where the comps don't matter anymore.
They don't.
It's all one, it's a bit subjective at this point with everybody wanting that house. And 2, you're going to be the next comp. Whatever you purchase it at, you are going to sway the market and saying this house is now worth this much. And it's just kind of a domino
continues
effect.
To increase.
Yeah. So that's the phrase that I've learned to say, and that usually helps them decide where they want to go in at. So they're actually not even disappointed when they lose the house because they're like, oh, well, I didn't want it for more than that anyway.
Yeah, they did their absolute best. We did a video a couple of weeks ago where we say list price is just the starting point because I think as human beings, we naturally compartmentalize different things. And so we see a home that's listed for $400,000, for example. That agent may have done a very good job in listing it at home to create the urgency and the multiple offers. And then the market will dictate that final price. And someone may be willing to pay $475 for that home.
Right.
So you can't look at it, well, it's 75 for over asking. What is it worth to you for that house right now? And I've had that conversation as well with plenty of buyers. And I feel like that's why, as a team, we hit a pretty good we have a pretty successful batting average when writing offers. I hate to lose for my clients.
It's true.
The first question that I always ask my clients is, do you love the home? And more time, they'll say, yes, we love the home. And then 2, then that's when I go to work and let them know this is where we need to be, because as of right now, we're seeing pretty much, and using the over asking after I just said don't really use that, but I mean the homes we're seeing now are selling 50 to 75,000 over asking pretty routinely, and then it goes back again, guys, to interest rates being so low, and you can afford more due to the rates.
It's true.
And as I tell everybody, if you have a 3% interest rate, every $1,000 is $3. Give or take, don't have my lender buddies with me, but that's a pretty good rule of thumb.
Right.
I was doing this. My mom will laugh, but I mean, I remember when rates were at 5%, and what I would tell clients every $1,000 was $5. And here we may be bickering over $5,000. I'm like, that's that's a 2 Chick-fil-A meal
Right.
combo.
It's true.
But you don't think about it like that. But in this case, every $1,000, $3, and so 10 grand's $30. Mm-hmm. And then really the difference is down payment. And if you have the liquid, it's it doesn't affect a whole lot, as long as you plan on being in the home for a little bit. But again, your neighbors then will see the price of the house and use that number to help increase the next sale. So
yeah, and then as those months go by, like if we're talking about the homes that you and I helped get clients into back in April, they already have a ton of equity from setting that bar, and then their neighbors meeting that, mm-hmm. The new comps, they've already, made money almost.
Yeah. So did you have any other questions for me? I know this was kind of a Q&A segment here for you guys. I feel like, just so you guys are aware, early 2022, I go quarter at a time. I feel like, guys, buckle up. I think we're going to see a little more inventory, but it's not going to outweigh the demand. So if you're at all thinking about listing your home in here in the Triangle, let us know. We'd love to help you accomplish your real estate goals. Show you a no obligation, or give you what equity you're sitting on now, mm-hmm. what we think we could get your home sold for. So if you're thinking about, hey, I want to downsize, I want to utilize the equity I have now to go into that next purchase, we'll be able to help you with that. If for like many people, Terb, I don't want to buy until I don't want to sell till I know where I'm going. We have avenues where we can help you navigate to the finish line and help you buy without selling. Talking to our preferred lenders, so we can definitely provide a roadmap there for you guys there to win. So
it's called the Super Terb
marketing strategy. Yeah, I'm working on that. It's patent pending. Yeah, we have that out. That's being utilized. Same thing with the Super Terb shirt here. I actually got to get more of this merch. I'm cool.
Merchandise. I was trying to get the word the whole time.
You got merch. Going. We got merch. I got kids now wanting to be little Terb, Super Terb. So I've got to get my boy Philip Simpson on the mic to get more merch. I sound cool or like an influencer, I think.
You got some swag. There you go.
But guys, if you guys at all have any questions for us, wherever you're listening, agents, if you have any questions on helping to grow your business, we're here to help you. But reach out to us. If you don't have any other questions, we just, again, wanted to kind of just give you a little recap what's going on. I'm going to take a quick break and feature our local beer of the week, but more importantly, kind of feature a local venue of the week where we're going to be partying Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. But we'll take a break and we will be right back. And welcome back to the Super Terb Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michael Turby, a.k.a. Super Terb, your local real estate expert with the Ida Turbo Group, Coldwell Banker HBW here in the Raleigh area, or what we like to call the Triangle in the heart of North Carolina. Episode 36, we're just wrapping up, and I want to talk about our local beer of the week. We have a lot of great local breweries here in the Triangle, and one in which we're going to be partying at Saturday is Lonerider Brewery, the second annual. Now, we've actually had 3 parties there in this month, in October, but this is the second annual. We had to put a pause on it last year due to COVID, but this is the second annual Halloween Appreciation Event with Terb. I'm excited because it's Saturday, October 30th. And we're going to have people dressing up. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually wearing my League of Their Own baseball uniform, Tom Hanks edition. Now, are you going with the same costume? Or no, you had to improvise?
We're improvising, but it's a secret.
Again, you can't tell me. Okay. I'm excited. We're going to have John Malidi. Did I say that right? John and Tanya Malidi.
There we go.
With Manhattan Pizza. They're going to be providing pizzas for us. Of course, our friends at Lonerider are going to be, we're going to have plenty of beer. If you don't like beer, we'll have soda, water, things of that nature.
Lots of stuff.
But right now, I think we have 56 families saying they're coming, so I'm really excited. But if you guys are all thinking, or if you want to check out a cool brewery, Lonerider actually has 2 locations. I've talked about them in the past here on previous podcasts. We have one in the Wake Forest. They have one in the Wake. I said we. I do feel affiliated. But they have one in Wake Forest called the Hideout. It's their second location they opened. And then they have the other, which is Northwest Raleigh by the airport. It's really cool because it's kid-friendly. They typically always have food trucks. I know they've had live music in the past, and it's dog friendly. Very big with Triangle Beagle Rescue. We have 3 beagles at the house, and they always have beagle events there, so it's a lot of fun.
That
So
does sound fun.
again, guys, we can't thank you guys enough for listening to the podcast. We're gonna continue to build on this podcast until continue to have great content, great entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, agents, you name it, just to be able to share their story. So be ready for a great 2022. If you're listening and would like to be a guest on the Super Terb podcast, reach out to me. I'd love to have you on to tell your story. Jordan, can't thank you for all that you do. Obviously, our team behind the scenes, guys. We, to be what we do, we can't do it without them. So, anything to sign off with?
No,
All right,
that's
good.
true.
She's just holding on right now. She's like, I'm getting on the podcast with Terb. I just go.
We have a lot of fun.
We have a lot of good times. So if if you like the podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a comment. And if there's anything we can do to help you accomplish your real estate goals, again, it's Michael Turbot, Jordan Hatch, your local real estate experts with the Ida Turbo Group, Coldwell Banker HBW, signing off. And remember, guys, as always, who you work with matters. We'll see you.